Hello and welcome to another playthrough of Marvel Champions, the card game. So today we're going to be going using Doctor Strange going up against Rhino. So this is my first time using Doctor Strange. So I always like to do Rhino first, just so I can figure out what the hero does and focus more on what the new hero cards are. So I don't know his cards at all. So for Rhino 1, we do have the break-in 1A, so we use the recommended bomb scare modular, and once this gets to 7, and it's 1 per turn, we will lose the game. So we just got to keep this from getting to 7. So Rhino 1 has a scheme of 1, attack of 2, and 14 health. Alright. And we're on standard mode, so we're starting at 1 and going to 2. We have his health set to 14. And we will shuffle the obligation card for Doctor Strange into the encounter deck. So for Doctor Strange, he's Stephen Strange on his alter ego side. Recovery of 3, hand size of 6, 10 hit points. And when Strange begins the game, Stephen Strange begins the game with an invocation deck. So natural talent is an action, discard the top card of the invocation deck, limit once per phase. So the invocation deck is a separate deck of cards. There's 5 different cards in that deck. One of them will be face up at all times. And when you use it, you discard it in its own separate discard pile. And we'll see what we got. So the first one we're going to have is Crimson Bands of Kaitarak. So that's going to be the one on top. It's a 2-cost event, and we can play it just like it was in our hand. So it's, well, actually we can only play it if we use an ability, but we'll show you that in a second. So Crimson Band special, stun an enemy and deal 7 damage to it. Place this card in the invocation deck discard pile. So that will be there for now until we use it. So Stephen, Doctor Strange on his hero side, thwart of 2, attack of 1, 2 defense, and Spellmaster ability is the action that allows us to use the invocation deck. So it's an action. You exhaust Doctor Strange and pay the cost of the top card of the invocation deck and resolve the special ability on that card. So you exhaust him, and then you get to pay for, so I could pay 2 and do that card. So we start as Stephen Strange and draw our hand size of 6, and Doctor Strange's side has a hand size of 5. Need to get 6 cards to start with. Getting Sorcerer Supreme, Cloak of Levitation, Warning, Magic Blast, Strength, and Brother Voodoo. So we're going to go ahead and discard 3 cards for our mulligan. And see what we get. We got Master of the Mystic Arts, Magical Enhancements, and Genius. So we will go ahead and flip over to Doctor Strange. And we're going to use Strength as 2 resources to pay for Cloak of Levitation. So you gain the aerial trait, and then as a hero action, exhaust Cloak of Levitation and ready Doctor Strange. So we got a cloak out. And then I'm going to pay 2 for Sorcerer Supreme. So play only if you have the Mystic trait, which Doctor Strange has. And then you get +1 hand size while in hero form. So that's going to bring our hand size up to 6. Then I'm going to use his ability to exhaust Doctor Strange and pay the cost of the top card of the invocation deck. So I'll pay 2 resources to use Crimson Bands. So that's going to stun an enemy and deal 7 damage to it. Then place this card in the invocation deck discard pile. So that's 7 damage, and Rhino is stunned right off the bat. And then I can use my Cloak of Levitation. So I'm going to exhaust that to ready Dr. Strange. Then from there I'll just attack for 1. So Rhino's down to 6. We'll ready up. And then our hand size is 5, but we get 1 extra card. So we're going to have our hand size of 6 now. Drawing 6 cards. Getting Desperate Defense, Protective Ward, Warning, Momentum Shift, Desperate Defense, and Power of Protection. And also, since we did use Crimson Bands, the next card in the Invocation deck would have been revealed. So that's that. We're going to get 1 threat added to the main scheme. Rhino will try to attack, but he's stunned, so instead you just remove stunned, and then we get an encounter card. So it's an enhanced Ivory Horn. You can spend 3 physical resources to discard this card. It's going to give him +1 attack. So now Rhino has an attack of 3. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to use his ability to play 7 rings, which give up to 3 characters each a tough status card. Discard it, so I have to pay 1 resource for that. So I'm just going to give myself tough status. Then I'll use the Cloak of Levitation to ready up. And then let's see what the next card is. It's the Winds of Watum. Then I'm going to exhaust Dr. Strange, use his ability again to play the Winds of Watum. It's a 0 cost event and it just says draw 3 cards. And the next card will be Images of Icon. So we're going to draw 3 cards. Drawing Protective Ward, Magical Enhancements, and Energy. So I'm going to pay 3 physical resources to get rid of the enhanced Ivory Horn. And then I guess I'll just pay 1 to get magical enhancements out. So play under any player's control. Your hero gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense. When the round ends, discard magical enhancements. So I can use that if I defend, which will only happen if he attacks twice, really. Then we'll ready up. And draw. I think we're going to discard these 2 cards. And then we're going to draw up to our hand size, which is 6. So drawing 5 more. 3, 4, 5. We're only drawing 5 because we hung on to energy. And we get a Momentum Shift, Unflappable, Clea, Eye of Agamotto, and Medteam. So we get 1 threat added there. Rhino attacks us for base 2 +1, so 3. We lose our tough from that. And then he's going to get an encounter card, which is Break-In and Taken. So when revealed, place 1 additional threat here. So it's going to start with 2 and get 1 more. So it's going to get 3. And it's the end of the round, so we're going to lose our magical enhancements. So we never really got to use them. So I'll pay 2 to put in the Eye of Agamotto. It's a hero resource. Exhaust Eye of Agamotto and generate a wild resource. So that's going to be a wild resource for us. So I'll pay 2 to get out Clea. So 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 health. And then she has interrupt when Clea is defeated, shuffle her into her owner's deck. And then I'm just going to pay 1 and exhaust Dr. Strange to use Images of Icon. So confuse the villain and remove 4 threat from a scheme. Place this card in the Invocation deck discard pile. So we're going to remove 4, but only really 2, and confuse Rhino. And then that brings in Vapors of Valtor. And And then we'll use the Cloak of Levitation to ready Doctor Strange. Then we can go ahead and use our ability again to use Vapors of Valtor. Choose a status card in play, replace that status card with a different status card. Place this card in the Invocation discard pile. So we will replace Confused with Stunned. And then this gets shuffled. And then you reveal a new one. Winds of Watum. Clea will go ahead and thwart for 1. And then we're gonna ready up. I'm gonna discard this card and draw up to our hand size of 6. Clea did take 1 consequential damage for when she thwarted, but we drew Astral Projection, Mystical Studies, Med Team, Warning, Sanctum Sanctorum, and Momentum Shift. So we get 1 threat added to the main scheme. Rhino's stunned, so he can't attack us. And then we are going to get an additional encounter card dealt to us. The first one is Bomb Scare. So it's going to start with 2 and get an additional 1 per player. And it has an acceleration icon. So it's going to get 3 on it. And then False Alarm. When revealed, you are confused. If you're already confused, this card gains Surge. We are confused. First thing we'll do is use the Winds of Watum to draw 3 cards. Drawing Astral Projection, Master of the Mystic Arts, and Night Nurse. Then we reveal images of Icon. We use our Cloak to ready. And then we're going to use the images of Icon. We use that to pay for it. It's going to remove 4 threat. We'll remove it from Bomb Scare to get rid of that. And then confuse the villain. I'll go ahead and pay 1 to put in Sanctum Sanctorum, just to set up for later, just in case. Pay 1 for Master of the Mystic Arts, so I can pay the printed cost of the top card of the Invocation deck and resolve its special ability, then place it back on top of the Invocation deck face up. So use Vapors, and I'll change my Confused to a Tough status card, and then that just gets placed right back on top to be used again. I will pay 3 for Med Team. It comes with, enters play with 3 medical counters on it. And then you exhaust Med Team, remove 1 medical counter from it to heal 1 damage from a friendly character. So I can put those counters there. And then I think I'm just going to fort for 1 with Clea to remove that, and then she gets shuffled back into our deck. There's that. We'll ready up. Drawing up to our hand size of 6, we're going to hang on to Astral Projection. Actually, I'll discard it. I don't need it. Drawing 6 cards. Drawing Unflappable, Clea, Power of Protection, Wong, Avengers Mansion, and a Magic Blast. Get 1 threat added to the main scheme. Rhino attacks us for 2 plus 1 boost, and that gets rid of our Tough. Then we're going to get 2 encounter cards. First one is Armored Rhino Suit. When any amount of damage will be dealt to Rhino, place it here instead. Then if there's at least 5 damage here, discard armored Rhino suit. So there's that. Hydra Bomber. When revealed, choose to either take 2 damage or place 1 threat in the main scheme. And I think I'm just going to take 2 damage. No, I'll place 1 threat in the main scheme. It's not much. No. Keep changing my mind. I'm going to do the 8 damage just because I can use Med Team. I'll do right away. Just use Med Team to heal 2 and go back up to 10. So I'll pay 2 resources for a protection card to put Clea back out there, and then pay 3 for a magic blast. Deal 5 damage to an enemy and discard the top card of your deck if that card's printed resource has, and depending on what that card has, something else is going to happen. And it's a physical. So 5 damage to Rhino is going to get rid of his armor Rhino suit, and then a physical resource, stun that enemy. So he's going to be stunned as well. Okay, so he's stunned and confused. I'll attack for 1 onto the Hydra Bomber. And then we'll ready Dr. Strange to attack for another 1 to take out the Hydra Bomber. And then Clea is going to attack for 1 to Rhino. It's down to 5. We'll ready up. Draw our 6 cards. So we only have 2. We'll have to shuffle our deck. Alright, so we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Getting Unflappable, Desperate Defense, Mystical Studies, Protective Ward, Astral Projection, and Magic Blast. Get 1 threat added to the main scheme on the villain's turn. He's going to try to attack, but he's stunned. And then we're going to get 2 more encounter cards dealt to us. So we have 3 this time. And it's going to be a charge. So attached to Rhino. When Rhino attacks, this attack gains overkill. And at the end of this attack, discard charge. So he's going to get +3 attack next time he attacks. Hydra Mercenary. So he has a 0 scheme, 1 attack, 3 health, and guard. So we can't attack Rhino while he's out. And then we get Shocker. When revealed, deal 1 damage to each hero. So it's going to be 1 damage. Bringing us down to 9. And he has 1 scheme, 2 attack, and 3 health. And I really want to start dealing some damage. So Clea's going to attack. She attacked last turn, so she is actually defeated now. She's going to attack the Hydra Mercenary for 1. And then she gets shuffled back into our deck. Dr. Strange will attack the Hydra Mercenary for 1. So it's 2 damage on him. We'll ready up. And then we'll attack the Hydra Mercenary again to take him out. We will use our Eye of Agamotto and 2 other resources to pay for a Magic Blast. So 5 damage again to an enemy, and then something else will happen. And we get a mental resource, so confuse the enemy, but he's already confused. So it's just going to do the 5 damage, taking Rhino down to 0. So we finally defeated Rhino 1, going on to Rhino 2. So, scheme of 1, attack of 3, and he comes in with 15 hit points. And when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the break-in and take inside scheme and reveal it. So that's why I was just leaving that out there for so long. I didn't think it was going to take that long, but it happens. So he's going to be at 15. Then I'm just going to use Astral Projection. So choose a scheme, remove 3 threat from that scheme. Look at the top card of the counter deck. For each boost icon on that card, remove 1 additional threat from that scheme. So it's going to be 3. I'm doing it from breaking and taking, so it's removing 5, which is more than enough. I only had 2 on it. Then I'm actually going to go ahead and flip over to Stephen Strange. I'm going to use his ability, Natural Talent, to discard the top card of the Invocation deck. Bringing in the Crimson Bands. And then I'll use this ability, Exhaust Sanctum Sanctorum, shuffle a spell card from your discard pile into your deck and draw a card. And I'm going to choose a Magic Blast to shuffle back into my deck, and then I'm going to draw 1 card. Drawing Warning. And then I ready everything up. I'm going to discard Warning and draw 6 new cards. So we have Clea, Brother Voodoo, Protective Ward, Magic Blast, Warning, and Power of Protection. So yeah, 1 threat added here to the main scheme, bringing that up to 3. Rhino tries to scheme, but he's confused, so that goes away. Shocker still schemes for 1. Then we get 1 encounter card dealt to us. And it's going to be an Assault, which we're in Alter Ego, so this card gains Surge. So we get I'm Tough. When revealed, give Rhino a Tough status card. If Rhino already has a Tough status card, this card gains Surge. He does not already have one, so he'll get a Tough status card. First thing I'll do is use Sanctum Sanctorum. Get a spell back into my deck. I'll choose an Astral Projection. Shuffle that back into my deck and draw a card. Drawing Unflappable. I'll flip over to Doctor Strange. I'll use Power Protection to play for Clea. And she's going to attack for 1 onto Rhino to get rid of Tough. And then I'm going to use Doctor Strange's ability to do the Crimson Bands, paying these 2 resources, dealing stun enemy and deal 7 damage to it. Bringing Rhino down to 8. Clea did take 1 damage. We will use our cloak to ready Doctor Strange. I'm going to pay 1, 2, 3 for a Magic Blast, deal 5 damage to an enemy, and then I'm going to discard my top card of my deck. So Energy Resource, deal 2 damage to that enemy. So it's going to be do 5 and then 2 to Rhino. So that is 7 damage. Bringing Rhino down to 1, and then Doctor Strange can just attack for 1 and defeat Rhino. So he's at 0. We also could have healed, got ourselves back up to 10, just so we finish the game with full health. So Doctor Strange defeated Rhino. His deck is pretty powerful, especially with this Invocation deck. You can do a lot of good things with that. When you have your Cloak of Levitation, you can do it twice per turn. Use 2 of these cards, really comes in handy. So that's all for this video. It's my first playthrough for Doctor Strange. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and stick around for a quick deck construction. Have a great day. Okay, so real quick, just for deck construction, we had Rhino on standard mode, so 1 and 2. The break-in 1A and 1B for our main scheme, and then the Rhino encounter cards. We use the Bomb Scare, recommended modular set, and then the standard cards that made up the encounter deck. We had Doctor Strange, who is Stephen Strange on his alter ego side. He has 15, 2 Master of the Mystic Arts, 2 Magic Blasts, 2 Astral Projections, 2 Protective Wards, 2 Magical Enhancements, Mystical Studies, Cloak of Levitation, Eye of Agamotto, Sanctum Sanctorum, and Wong. We had his 15 cards. We were running the deck that comes with the hero pack, so if you buy the hero pack, this card comes with it, and you can just recreate this deck. We had the protection cards, 2 power protections, 3 desperate defenses, 3 momentum shifts, 3 unflappables, 2 med teams, Night Nurse, Brother Voodoo, Clea, and Iron Fist. And then we had some basic cards. We had the 3 basic resource cards. We had 3 warnings, Venger's Mansion, and Sorcerer Supreme. And of course his invocation deck. The 7 Rings of Ragador, Crimson Bands of Katorak, Vapors of Valtor, Images of Icon, and Winds of Watung. And then we had his Nemesis and the Nemesis cards. So Baron Mordo is his Nemesis, and those are the cards that could get shuffled in, and then his Obligation, Physical Toll. So that is all the cards that we used in this video.